welcome once again to the Party of One podcast, the actual play RPG podcast where the gaming table is always set for two. I'm your host as always, Jeff Stormer, and this week on the show I am joined by Nick Butler for a playthrough of his game, Tidebreaker. Tidebreaker is a cinematic role-playing game with style. In it, you take on the role of hyper-competent heroes and explore worlds that your group creates together from the ground up. Players will customize their abilities, get involved in clandestine plots, and engage in epic battles straight out of your favorite action movie against numbers that would almost overwhelm anyone, as well as the big bad. This game rips. It was super fun. I really loved playing it. I think you're going to love listening to the episode. Tidebreaker is coming to Kickstarter on June 22nd, but the early access edition is available right now. Go to Tidebreaker RPG to pick up your copy. Then follow Nick on Twitter at FollowMyBlade. And then check the show notes for a link to the Kickstarter. Click the notify me to get an email on the day that it launches. Back the game on day one. Make it a reality. This game rips, and I really want to see it fully fulfilled, and I hope that you'll help me do that. Like I said, you can find more information about Tidebreaker in the show notes. Now, real quick, before we dive in, I do want to give a special thank you to Edward Lipson as well as Scooby-Doo's dad, Mr. Doo, Scooby's father, for their support on Patreon. Patreon backers get early access to episodes, they get raw audio, they get the texts of new games before they get published to the world. It is a really cool thing, and you should consider backing. You should go to patreon.com/JeffStormer to back to help support the show. It pays for hosting fees and equipment and guest payments and all kinds of good stuff. Once again, that link is patreon.com/JeffStormer. And with all that said, let's go ahead and throw it over to me in the past so that he can get started with the show. Take it past me. Thanks, future me. This week, I am super excited to be sitting down with Nick Butler. Nick, thank you so much for coming on Party of One.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Nick Butler. You can find me on Twitter, FollowMyBlade.
So, real quick, before we dive into this week's episode, why don't you take a moment and let the lovely listeners at home know about what we're playing this week, as well as anything else you've got going on you might want the audience at home to know about.
Well, this week we're going to be playing Tidebreaker RPG. It's a cinematic action tabletop RPG that I made. And you can find an early access edition at tidebreakerrpg.com. Like I said, find me at FollowMyBlade if you have any questions. Yeah.
All right. I'm very excited. I've been looking forward to this all day, especially because we have created a very me story that I'm very excited to dig into. So why don't we introduce the scenario and the story that we're telling, and then I will introduce my character, and then we'll do some action scenes, and we'll play some games.
Yeah. We made a little quick setting. It's kind of like based off of the Real Steel franchise. So it's pretty much the genre is like wrestling, but with robots. We using going down Tidebreaker's setting creation toolkit. It's pretty much like a who, what, where, when, why, how questionnaire that Jeff and I did, and which goes over the genre and theme first, and then a couple of key events. And so the theme is going to be like corporations versus like independence and stuff, right? And the situation is the Robot Deathmatch League has decided to go a different route. Show business! And we enter Jeff's character. And in response to the new wrestling format, the underground matches now have human opponents versus robot boxers. The first key event was a scrappy training robot goes round for round with the League Robot Deathmatch champion without being destroyed. Cough, cough, Mr. Wolverine. Crowd ate it up. So the robot boxer here is Jack Hughes going against with his robot Grease Lightning. And it was handled at the Giant Robot Punch League Championship, Grapple for short. Happened at GrappleMania 2022 on the Grapple main stage because Jack's kid needed him to win one more time before he retired. After that, some big money sponsors got involved. Monster Energy Drink, Red Bull. They merged to become Monster Red right after Event A. The scrappy training bot and whatever, right? Because of, they did it, right after Event A during some shady Zoom meeting, because COVID. And because limiting the damage to superficial dents leads to more profits, right? And also it drums up the drama a little longer. But after that, the death matches go underground. between r/grapple organizers Greasy, Brody 316, and 3 cases of Ram Kind. Decided to get 1,000 little tiny indie leagues together for 6 months after the sponsors got together, right? And the skate parks, backyards, a lot of barbecue places, restaurants, mall courtyards, etc. They started holding these fights all over the place because people responded negatively to the fakeness of the new format. And so people did what they did and made their own. After intense competition to keep user attention from dozens of smaller companies and gangs, the underground scene draws the attention of the mainstream. The result, the death of the first law. And, any nerd worth their salt understands that is the robot's prime directive to not murder people. Albert Harrison, the head talent acquisitions for Grapple, decided to come up with this idea around Christmas 2022. And now on Grapple's main stage, we have robots beating people to death because show business. And where's all this going to be happening now? The Underground Circuit at first, and then we'll be hitting up GrappleMania 2023.
We're on the road to GrappleMania.
Yep.
And so I will introduce my character. I am the greatest human wrestler that has stepped into the ring in many a year. My name is Gage Gusset, and my gimmick is that I am the last living human. I am 40 years old. He, his pronouns. Gage Gusset lives and dies for professional wrestling. Gage Gusset has been fighting and clawing his way up from nothing, and has captured the minds and hearts of the people by being the most brutal and the most deadly and the most effective fighter that has ever stepped in the ring. It's the most effective human that has stepped into the ring against a robot. Primarily because Gage Gusset is willing to do what no one else is willing to do. If I have to bleed, I'm going to bleed. If I have to break out a weapon, I'm going to break out a weapon. If I have to destroy something, I will destroy something. I am going to be the last living human. I am going to be the GrappleMania champion. I am going to prove that a human being with a light tube and a steel chair is going to stand over a robot every single time. I am the spirit of humanity, and with that, I will tear robot fighters limb from limb to prove that I am the ultimate fighter.
Sounds very Gurren Lagann, and I love it. Love and spirit. Oh man.
And so with that, I think we are ready to get in and tell our story. Where is our first scene set?
Well, that depends on Gage Gassett's questions. Tiebreaker likes to ask questions of the players, and then we resolve them based on a scene-by-scene basis, right? Because each character is just like a very goal-oriented kind of hero. So we set our goals ahead of time, right? Mm-hmm. And then we answer, can he do it? So I would say Gage's first goal would basically be like, can he get out of the underground circuit so he can get the attention of Grapple's promoters, right?
That is correct. 100%.
Yeah. So we're going to take that and then roll some dice and do some role playing and see what happens.
Sounds good.
So let's open up the scene. I think you're basically just coming out of your locker room or something, and this like shady dude, it's kind of like business casual, no blazer, but you know, tucked in white shirt, black tie, got his hair greased back, like you know the types. It's just like a ratty kind of like promoter guy. And he walks up to you and he goes, "Hey, my name is Alan Holdsheep. And you know, you got spunk, kid. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna give you a chance at the title for the underground circuit here. Like here at r/Grapple. Like, you know, what was his name? Greaser Boy? Yeah, Greaser Boy. Like, it doesn't matter what his name is, it's a screen name, but like you know what we're talking about, right? Mm-hmm. But so we're gonna what do you say? You interested? You want to make some money?
I've got a duffel bag in my hand. I'm wearing my cargo shorts and sneakers, and I shove the duffel bag into this man's chest, and I'm like, I'm not a kid. Tell me who the opponent is, and get to whatever setup you got to get to do. Don't you have to get somebody coffee or something? And I push past them to climb in the ring and run the ropes.
Well, we're gonna take that as a yes. So, your opponent, his name is Jiren Dai. It's known as the Jubilant, because he likes to smile when he's tearing people apart. This one, like, he is human though, so like, I'm not sure if you're okay with a human on human deathmatch, but times are rough and we're trying to draw attention.
Has he got a family?
I mean, we try to know as little about our fighters as possible
I would find out who to address as their next of kin. That's probably helpful before they step in the ring with me.
Tell you what, well, give me like 2 minutes. So he pulls out his cell phone. He starts typing it into his keypad like really, really quickly. And you hear a couple of text message notifications go off like rapidly, and finds out that Jiren Dai, he's kind of a bit of a loner. Like, he doesn't take much investment into other people very much. So he's good to go. Like, as far as he's concerned, he's the last of his kind.
If he wants to disappear into history, I can't stop him from doing
that. He says that he doesn't think that he's the one that's going to be just a footnote tonight.
That's fine. We'll see who's standing at the end of the night.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, hope you don't get buried.
I don't need hope.
And that's a pun. Tiebreaker, we have a meta currency called hope, and I think Jeff's probably going to need quite a bit of
it. We'll see how it goes.
All right. So, Alan books you for what do you say? Like tomorrow?
Tomorrow works. Tomorrow works.
How tired is
I think if I'm here, I want to be wrestling. I don't think I particularly want to not be. I think we probably get a scene of Gage, like in between the show, like after the show, of like kind of sitting by himself, like in a Mega McDonald's, which is of course the end result of McDonald's merging with about 3 other restaurants. I'm sitting alone in a Mega McDonald's and like not really talking to anybody. And so like I think that like what I've got is wrestling. Like what I have is wrestling, and so if it can be tomorrow night, I'd rather not wait a week, cuz this is what I do.
Wait, just for the ha-has. I'm going to spend a doom to establish a fact. The Mega McDonald's, its name is McWendkings.
McWendkings is solid. I like that.
Yeah, it's McWendkings. No D. The D was gone. Like, there's no Mickey, there's no D's. It's just McWendkings. And you're sponsored by them.
Yeah, I probably unfortunately am.
Yeah, so Alan comes back in his McWendkings uniform to basically lead you to the ring the next day. And he goes over like some of Jiren Dai's like vitals or whatever, gives you a tip or two on his fighting style, like just a lot of like technical talk. And when he's done, he pats you on the back. He wishes you good luck. And
I think the second the pat comes, I'm like, "Oh, are you done? All right, were you talking?"
Yes. Yes, I was.
Oh, yeah, I didn't care.
Oh, well, I feel very
yeah, you can
right
go.
Now.
You can go.
Okay. Yikes. Jeez, like, you win a couple of matches and then you just get fucking rude. Okay, all right, I'm gonna go and talk to some people that actually. Ugh. And he just like closes the door, and the room smells suddenly cleaner.
Yeah, a little bit. And I think what I do is after he leaves, I'm gonna go track down. Was it Jirandai?
Yeah, Jirandai.
I'm gonna go track down Jirandai.
All right. So just gonna give him a little bit of a talk before the fight.
Yes, indeed.
All right, cool. So let's yeah, I'm not gonna make you roll for it. Just yeah, you leave the little locker room, the staging area, and you find kind of like a service area in the back that like connects around the ring area, because it's like one side you walk up and then there's the ring, and the other side he walks up, there's the ring, but it's all connected in the back area. So, but you know this, you've been here before.
Yeah.
So you get to where Jirandai's place is, his kind of like waiting room area, and the door's closed. What do you do?
I'm gonna knock on the door. Just a real straightforward knock. Nothing too special. Nothing too. Not trying to knock down the door or anything.
All right, cool. All right, so when you do that, he opens up the door, and how tall are you?
Just under 6 feet.
Okay, he's got probably a foot on you. So you see him, and he's just this like tall, lanky, like massive, like wiry muscle and like hair. Like he's got like a very like kind of 90s death metal kind of look to him. Just really long black hair. It's like obscuring his face. Spike gauntlets, not gauntlets, but bracelets. Like, you know what I'm talking about. Like the little black bracelets with spikes on all of them. Yeah, but he's got those on, and some very high like black laced boots that like go basically up to his knees. Black like camo pants, black t-shirt. It's a band name, but it's like that style that's like fairly like basically illegible, like those like deathcore bands in like the 2000s have, like, you know the slogans I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
But that's pretty much his look. And he looks down at you and he goes, expected you to be taller.
And I'm gonna offer up a handshake and go like, hey, I just want to say I hope we have a great match out there. I think we're gonna put on a great show.
He takes a step back, nods, and then he takes your hand. Like he's actually surprisingly professional about it.
Yeah. I think we're gonna have a great show. I'm looking forward to working with you. I think it's gonna be great.
Yeah. He actually starts going over a couple of cues and things because, like, yeah, it's to the death, but you both kind of have this understanding that like there's a little bit of a lead up before you guys start actually getting serious with going for the throat. So like he gives you a couple of cues for one of the things or two he's going to do turn one when we actually get to rolling dice. So you can like pretty much like not worry about like actually going down if he hits you or not.
Right.
It'll just look like you did.
Yeah. We kind of cover it, because I think like if it's human against human, I think we're pretty good at like, I think the scene is small enough and it's easy enough to be like they're dead, and then somebody with a mask turns up in another place and you come back in 6 months, you come back from the dead, and like it is in fact professional wrestling, and so like we're able to kind of like lay out like here's how this is going to go down.
Yep. Yeah, so he basically tells you exactly what he's going to do in turn one. He's going to use his ability A on you, which is his signature Gravedigger technique. It requires him to be basically right next to you. So, like, whatever you do for that, to try to stop him from doing that, like, do whatever you want. So, yeah. So from there, like, he wishes you good luck, and then he closes the door.
Cool. I'm gonna head back to my room. I'm gonna gather up my weapons, and I'm gonna sit quietly in the locker room until it is showtime, until my music cue gets played.
Yeah, and just for the ha-has, we will kind of like obscure what you're actually going to do until you do it.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, your music comes on, and like you can kind of hear the crowd from outside of your waiting room, and they're reasonably excited. Not so much like if you were like a whole superstar or anything, but like they're giving you like a respectful kind of like rapport, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you're still like more or less unknown, but there's a couple of people that have been on our grapple that have been like following you, and they've maybe got a couple of their friends that go, "Hey, like this is the guy I've been waiting for all night." Like,
Yeah.
they're looking forward to seeing you. Like, you've got a couple of diehards out there
For sure. I've got the gusset board.
Yeah. All right, so your music's on. Are you gonna walk out?
Yep, I walk out. The music is playing is like industrial grunge metal. You know, it's real scratchy and screechy and loud. And I kind of walk out, and I've got my duffel bag, and I slide that in the ring, and I start waving up my arms to hype up the crowd and throwing punches. And I'm kind of slapping myself in the face a little bit. And, you know, just kind of I get in the face of a random person in the crowd, and I just scream at him for a second. And then I roll in the ring. And I unzip the duffel bag, and I just start spilling out weapons, you know, light tubes and metal rods and cheese graters, and just all sorts of horrible, you know, sharp metal implements. I'm just dumping them out into the ring as I kind of like I climb up, and I grab two light tubes, and I smash them together, and then I smash them together, and then I kind of like hold out my hands to kind of like push the cloud of smoke and glass out into the crowd, and I'm like, I'm standing on top of the rope, like holding out clouds of smoke, like a god bringing storms upon the earth. And I jump down, and I loosen up a little bit, and I kind of like kick at the various weapons, and then I just start cracking my knuckles and shaking my neck and getting ready to party.
Nice. The crowd is eating it up. The guy that you like screamed in his face like grabs you by the face too and like screams back in your face, and it's just like the energy is like palpable, right? They are like completely loving all the sharp instruments, and they're just like, oh my god, I wonder what he's gonna do with all that. And like someone that's like, hey, he's probably gonna like stab the guy. Like, what the fuck? Like, oh man, this is great. Like nothing like the old days, man. Like they're gonna like fucking like call their shots and shit. Like, nah, then like they're just gonna go for the throat. Like, definitely gonna go for the throat. This is the real shit.
This is real. This is real
shit. Like the crowd is like real shit. Like as soon as like and the guy like says it, it's just like, oh my god, like am I that dude today? And they go like, yeah, real shit. Yeah, and the crowd's loving you, man. So like when you're done doing your whole spiel, like you hear this like bell, right? Like almost like at the beginning of like Metallica's like For Whom the Bell Tolls, right? But instead of that riff, it's more of like a kind of like a more like a orchestral, like a very like gothic kind of like symphonic metal kind of shit, like Cradle of Filth kind of shit, right? It's like violins and fucking trumpets and shit, and then the guitars come in and like the lights go out, and it's just like doom on one side, doom, and then you see Jirandai come out, and he's got like this big fucking black trench coat on with like bones for the buttons going all the way down, and like a top hat like a gravedigger, and he's just got his shovel, and like the announcer kind of like calls his name out. And in this corner, the reigning champion of the circuit, Jirandai, the Jubilant. And right out from like everything else about his image would like assume that he would just be like very like dark and solemn and stuff. Like you see him just like flash this perfect white smile. It was like this fucking like really creepy effect, like this like kind of like serial killer kind of vibe in his eyes, right? And like all of the hype in the crowd is just replaced with just kind of just like a sort of like dread and awe, because like the effect that he has on them is just like, man, like this dude is fucking scary, but we're here for it,
Right, 100%.
Yeah, and as he's walking down the aisle, right, you notice this for like how they did it. The crowd doesn't, but the crowd are like backing away from the aisle, because you can see that there's like little sliding doors, and there's just like hands with like they've got like zombie makeup, like just kind of like reaching out through the ground, like as in his wake. And like you can see like the fucking like spider webs and shit like coming around, like they're kind of like sliding them in, so it looks like he's just got like this wake of just like fucking doom like going behind him, right? And when he gets to the ring, he just like slides under the rope, kind of like, you know, pulls the top rope up and like jumps, walks in between, and then like he raises his hands and like there's like wolves howling, and like bats like kind of like come in from the ceiling and like go across his face, and it's just like the lights kind of turn like to this like eerie like midnight yellow kind of, right? You know, it's like some like vampire movie shit.
Yeah, right.
And right during the climax of his theme song, everything goes dark for a second, and then the lights come back on, and he's standing right in front of you.
Excellent. I love it.
So the ref doesn't know that he was going to do that. So the ref just kind of like starts running up to you guys, and like he gives you the whole like, I want a good, clean fight, like no low blows or anything. Well, you know, until you have to do what you gotta do.
I think at the words, as soon as good, clean fight, I throw a headbutt. Just full on right to the teeth, like we're not like I'm not listening to a spiel. I'm not listening to the ref give a pep talk. Like we're here for a match. We're putting on a match.
I love it. Okay. So I want you. He's going to try to just take it straight to the chin. Without like dodging you, because like the whole point is that he wants to give this sense that he's just like steel, basically, right? So he's gonna try to like no sell it, like, and I'm gonna spend 2 doom ahead of time to no sell it.
Okay.
All right. So roll your power plus we're gonna give you a stunt for just kind of like right before the fucking match even starts, just like,
okay,
it's good. It's a good description. So roll your power level plus 1 for the stunt and your might.
All right, 6 dice, and any that come up 4 through 6 are successes. That is 3 successes.
Okay, he successfully no-sells that attack.
Great.
But because of like how you hit him, like you know exactly how tough he is and the amount of effort he had to put in to make sure that didn't like make him stagger, right? So he has an endurance of 3.
Okay.
But because I spent the 2 doom, like his difficulty rating went up to 5.
Got it.
All right. And if we're keeping track, I have spent 3 doom so far. So I am actually out. So like you won't have any bullshit for now to deal with. It's just going to be a good straightforward match at this point.
All right.
All right. So now that you got your little surprise attack in, let's roll initiative. Your initiative is just going to be straight up agility check. So it's just going to be just that. No power level, no stunts.
1 success.
He also got 1 success, but in tiebreaker, the heroes go first. So you are in the same zone as him. We're gonna make the ring just kind of like a square. So it's gonna be top left of the ring, top right of the ring, bottom left, bottom right.
Once I headbutt him, I kind of like shove him back, and I'm gonna move from I'm gonna call them just like quadrant 1 through 4 because that's gonna be the easiest for me. I think if he's in quadrant 1 right now,
Yeah, you're both in
I'm
quadrant 1.
yeah, I'm gonna move to 3. So I'm gonna move I'm gonna move down down to the opposite corner. And every time I enter into a zone, I get to point out a thing that I can interact with. And because I am an improv ace, because I am a professional wrestler and I'm a deathmatch wrestler, and this is what we do: is we identify things that we can interact with. I get to point out two things that I can interact with. And I think in this corner of the ring there is like a bundle of these light tubes, and also there's also like a spiral of barbed wire, like one of the big spool. That's the word I'm looking for. There's a spool of barbed wire, and there's a bundle of light tubes. So I'm going to pick those up, and I'm gonna put the light tubes inside of the barbed wire spool. And I'm going to create a weapon, and I'm going to use my ability, Weapon Spot.
Okay. So, you're gonna try to... Does Weapon Spot have range?
Weapon Spot does not have range, but it has Detonate. So, I'm going to hold off on using it right now to bank some successes, so that when I blow it up, I am going to use extra successes.
All right, cool. All right, so, you do that, and you're one zone away from him now, because of the square shape. All the zones are one space apart from each other. He is going to, on his turn, just kind of walk towards you as he is completely unaffected by what you're doing, and he goes. And he looks at you, and you understand that, like, by the look that he's giving you, that it's like, that wasn't what we discussed at all.
I give a shit-eating grin, because, like, you know, this is a show, right? Like, we're putting on a show here today.
And he goes, like, he kind of nods. It's like, okay, that's how it's going to be. And he stops right outside of your range. So he doesn't leave quadrant 1. And you see him kneel down for a second, and he does like that Catholic cross thing where they go from their forehead.
Yeah.
Okay, then. I guess it's time for me to read your... And then the crowd, like, kind of just joins in unison. Last rites! And he reveals a thing of beads. And then he takes the beads over his head, and then he, like, flings them towards you, like, without letting go of the other end. And you realize that this thing of, like, prayer beads is just, like, ridiculously longer than it has any right to be. And he's going to try to, like, grab you with the prayer beads. Like, you've seen this move before, but you weren't expecting him to do it this early. So what do you do?
I'm going to bend down and do the pro wrestling classic move where I'm gonna slap the side of my chin and say, like, come on, target, hit your beads right here. Like, I'm gonna full on just take it right in the jaw to force him to, because I think he's thinking that I want to dodge this. Like, he's thinking that I'm gonna try and get out of the way, but that's not how Gage Gusset fights. I want him. If he's busting out last rites, I want to take last rites to the jaw, because I want him to see that I'm gonna get up and then bash him with the light tubes wrapped in barbed wire.
All right, fabulous. Okay, so that means he's going to have to roll his might plus his power level. and then +1 for his stun, which is going to give him 5 dice. Making sure that none of his quirks or anything are being triggered by this, and they're not. He doesn't have any advantages here. Okay. And let's see. He got 2 successes. And against your endurance, that should miss, right? That
is a hard miss. That is, my endurance is 5.
All right, cool. On the upside, though, oh yeah, and by the way, do this retroactively for yourself. You get momentum equal to your wits.
Got it.
As does he. So you both should have 4, right?
I've got 2 momentum.
You only have 2 wits. Okay. All right. So he has 4. And all right. So the next turn is up on you.
I'm going to again bank some successes. I'm going to bank another success on my weapon spot as I grab the beads, like they lash me in the face, and I grab them and I throw them. I kind of throw the end of it that hit me on the ground, and I'm gonna lean in and say, "Try harder. You're professional."
Oh, I love it. That's mean. Okay, so then what he does is he walks in and you both. Oh wait, you said you threw the beads away, right?
Yeah.
All right. He never let go. So when you threw the beads off of you, he pulled them back in and put them back into his sleeve.
Now, do I gain momentum every turn? Do I build momentum every turn or just one time?
Every time you miss.
All right. Got it.
Unless you have something else that says that you're gaining momentum when you trigger a particular action or whatever, you get it when you miss.
Nope, I'm good. All right, so I got 2 momentum.
Cool. And so he starts to walk in a little bit closer. So he's now in the same zone as you. And when he starts walking forward, he goes, "You don't want me to try." And yes, now my voice has changed because reasons. He closes his coat, and the effects guy kind of takes this as a cue, and the lights go off for a second. And then then the lights go back on, and you can't see him. He's gone. But, you have this sense that he's getting ready to try to punch you again.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
I am going to... so, is he declaring an attack right now?
Yeah.
Because I've got an ability that I think I can use as an interrupt.
All right, go for it.
I do. Okay. I
you need 5 momentum to interrupt, though.
Oh, then I'm going to have to hold off on that. So for now...
You can spend hope.
Yeah, I'll spend a point of hope. I will spend a point of hope to gain 5 momentum so that I can interrupt this. Because I think what happens is he disappears, and I know that he's going to come punch me. So I'm going to do the one thing that he thinks that I'm going to block, or he thinks that I'm going to try and take it, and I'm going to do the one thing that he doesn't expect. So I'm going to spend a point of hope, and I'm going to say... He ran away. Oh, he's afraid of me. Everybody look, he's afraid of me. He's got to disappear and punch me from the shadows. Oh, I'm so scared. I'm so afraid of spooky shadows. Oh no.
Oh my god.
I am using my trash talk ability. So I'm going to choose, this is ability, I'm assuming this is ability A.
No, this is ability C. So you got that wrong, unfortunately.
Right. That's well. So, ability A gains Ignite 1 until the end of my next turn, which means his other abilities gain Botch 1 for a number of turns equal to my power level. So that worked out for the best. And now I'm going to discourage and choose ability C. That ability C triggers an immediate reversal attack.
Okay, cool. So you're going to get to swing again, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
So, with my...
But first thing first
Yep.
is we have to resolve the trash talk to make sure that you get the effects that you
Yes.
need. So he disappears and he's listening to you do it. But he's going to try to dodge.
Okay.
By just basically ignoring you. And he's going to focus on the crowd instead because they know what he's doing. He's using departure. So so he's basically just going to use the crowd's like hype and respect for him to ignore your scoffing. Okay. So roll your agility.
My agility? All right. Is it agility plus power or just agility?
Agility, power level, and +1. But because you made me laugh, Tiebreaker has a special rule called showstoppers. So when you get a showstopper, usually like when you're playing with more than one person, right?
Mm-hmm.
It comes down to a vote. Like if your stunt qualifies for a showstopper, but because it's just the two of us, I say I'll give it to you.
All right.
And so the way that works is that you will gain Ignite 1, and all of your ignited dice explode. So every die that gets ignited gets a reroll for 1, and then it also adds another die to your pool.
All right, so I've rolled one. I've rolled 1 6, so I'm gonna re-roll. I'm gonna re-roll the 6 and roll again.
No, re-roll a failure if you have any failures.
Perfect. Yep, I got a few failures, so I'm gonna re-roll a failure. So that is a total of 3 successes.
Okay, and now that you've done all your re-rolls, add another die.
All right.
For each sits that appeared.
All right, so that is still 3 successes.
Okay, cool. So the trash talk doesn't go off. So your scoff attempt just kind of like he brushes it off.
Sure.
So you don't get the free interrupts or anything from there.
All right.
But you did get a chance to try to fuck him up either way. And it gives you basically just say that you have 4 momentum at this point because the hope you spent was for burst, and burst gives you 5 momentum. So you got it. So you end this action with 4.
Got it.
All right. Yeah. So he did stop for a half a second. You don't notice because you can't see him. But then he goes, "Oh, how the children just like to try to talk themselves up before they go into the ground." And then you see him basically reappear behind you from underneath the ring.
Mm-hmm.
And he tries to grab you by your ankles and then make you fall onto your face. Okay. So how do you actually, you know what? You're not going to get the choice for that because the departure uses feint, and he's going to opt to attack with his wits before you make the choice to deal no damage to you or anything like that, and he'll just bank his successes instead.
Okay.
So he's going to roll wits. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then +2 for his power level and +1 for the stunt I just did. Damn it. Where's the last die? There it is. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3. He's got 4 successes banked.
All right.
So that's his turn, and he's considered spectral into the beginning of his next turn. So you'll have to beat a DR of 2 before to even target him.
All right.
So it's your turn now.
So he's grabbing me. He pulls me down. I fall flat on the mat. I kind of roll to my feet, and I am going to,
Yeah, when he goes spectral, basically what happens is instead of him just disappearing because he's not magical or anything, he's pretty much running around the outside of the ring. For game purposes, he's still considered in quadrant 3 with you. He's just on the edge. And there's a fog machine going on. So he's in the fog, being obscured by it.
And then I am going to, this turn, I'm going to, I'm gonna climb up, and I'm going to stand there. I'm gonna stand in the middle of the ring. I've got my weapon, and I'm gonna give him a come get some, like come at me, like I'm gonna open myself up, and I'm gonna use fighting spirit, so
Okay.
that his next attack may only deal damage on a critical hit. Or on contact, on a dodge, he must reroll and botch their initiative on the following turn.
Oof.
And also, I gain a temporary bonus level up to determine if I am down by an attack.
Okay, cool. That's a lot. Alright, so he is going to basically just try to keep his head together and stick with his game plan and dodge again. So roll your agility plus the 2 power level plus your stunt and any bonuses that you want to use.
All right, so I'm gonna roll 5. I'm gonna roll 5 dice here. Let me just double check and make sure I don't have any extra bonuses to add to that. Yep, 5 dice. Oh, and that is 3 successes.
Okay, and his focus is 4, so that's going to make you miss.
All right.
All right, and let's just make sure that he doesn't have anything else going on. So that time you were attacking with Trash Talk again, or what was it?
No, that was Fighting Spirit.
That was Fighting Spirit. Okay, cool. He has a quirk called Rapid Adapter, so if you use the same ability against him, it increases his DR. So just let me know if you do the same thing more than once in a row.
Will do.
All right. So yeah, he basically just slips around and just kind of like he's running around in a circle pretty much. To the effect that he's still going to be in 3 because he's not actually moving, but like to you, it looks like he's doing a sprint, right? And he's not taking the bait. So what he's gonna do on his turn is he's gonna let's see. You still have that bonus up level. Yeah, he's gonna move into rain. He's gonna move into the first quadrant.
Mm-hmm.
And like he sees you kind of like slowly balancing yourself on the top turnbuckle. Mm-hmm. And like the moment that your back is turned, he pops into range 1 and like he tries to go for last rites again.
All right.
But this time he's going to trick and pull. And tricks for the audience, when you build your abilities in Tiebreaker, you have 2 of what are called functions. And the functions are just mechanics that you can tie on to your basic attack to create like any weapon, mutant power, spell, or whatever. But a trick is your character saying, hey, but what if I did this? And then you can add another function. If the thing hits, you get to keep it and then use it again for 5 momentum. And you get what's called a key, which is basically our version of experience. You get a couple of keys, you get unlocks, and that's how the progression works. So in this case, he's going to trick and pull. And if the pull connects, you will be pulled into range 1 with him. Well, quadrant 1, anyway. So, what do you do?
I'm going to. I think I gotta try. I think I have this. But at this point, I don't think I can just take it. So I think I have to dodge it.
Okay, cool. So what he's going to do is he's going to trigger his quirk Devious, because he's currently spectral, and wait, nope, I definitely did the wrong thing there. Because I would have to have already hit you with last rites to trigger Devious. I'm done. Okay, but yeah, so he's not going to do that, but he's still going to do last rites on you. So he is going to use the extra 4 successes that he banked with his departure ability and add that to his total pool. So currently he's going to be rolling. What's his agility? Oh, he's actually slow. 1 and 1, 2, and then 1 for the stunts, and then he gets 4 extra successes because reasons. Okay, and he's got a total of 6 successes. Is that enough to connect with you at least?
Yes, it is.
All right, cool. You get that bonus up level though, so you're still up at the end of this, but he has pulled you in.
Mm-hmm.
And the last rites ability has disorient, so you're going to have to use the seek an opportunity action before being able to target him again. because you're now entangled in his prayer beads.
Got it.
So, so the last rites, he pulls you off of the top turnbuckle, and you go crashing down right next to him. And when you turn to look up, you're wrapped up in the beads, and he's gone. Because he's kind of just slipped out away again. He's using his standout feature, which is called blinding footwork. So whenever he attacks somebody in melee, and because he pulls you in, you're now in melee with him, he's going to move away, which causes a momentum shift against you. So next time he attacks you, he's going to be able to pick what defense you're using.
Okay.
All right, now it's your turn.
All right, so how do I seek an opportunity?
You got to roll your wits.
All right. Well, then that is exactly what I'm going to do.
Yep.
So I'm rolling my wits. I'm rolling 4 dice.
His spectral has worn off now because the fog is kind of cleared.
That is 2 successes.
All right, and that's enough. So you break free through the beads,
mm-hmm.
and you can see him now. He's now in quadrant 2. He was in quadrant 2, basically running towards the ropes to use the ropes to fling himself towards you, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that he's getting ready to do that. So what do you do now that it's your turn?
I am going to. I've got 6 momentum.
Yep.
So I'm gonna spend 5 momentum. And use my weapon spot and to accelerate, spend 5 momentum to shift upward 1 spot in the initiative, or gain 1 turn's worth of charges to any of my bank effects. So I'm going to bank an extra turn of successes and bank 2 turns of successes for a total of 4 successes as I get ready to bash this giant exploding light tube catastrophe machine on my opponent.
All right, fabulous. Okay, that sounds fantastic. All right, so he's definitely going to try to take you head on.
Mm-hmm.
Because it might be a fight to the death, but this man is a true performer. He does not care. So just give me 2 seconds, and I want to
mm-hmm.
think about exactly how I'm going to phrase his next action, because I think we have a definitely good conclusion for this. All right. So he starts pulling himself back
mm-hmm.
against the ropes, and he's going to trick in Hyper
mm-hmm.
for his into his Gravedigger technique. This is his ability A.
Okay.
And so you see him, and what Hyper does is it allows him to dash while he's attacking, because normally dash would be its own action. But the thing about Hyper is it also has an additional effect. So what he's going to do is he's going to spend his momentum as hope for the purposes of pushing his dice. And what a push does is it allows you to turn the dice over by one side,
mm-hmm.
and until the end of his turn. So you see him; he's coming at you full force. He's getting ready to truck the shit out of you. What do you do?
I'm going to spend a hope and interrupt this man.
Fabulous.
And bash him hard with a bundle of light tubes wrapped in barbed wire. Is what's going to happen to this man now. I think as he's coming at me, I grab him and I throw the barbed wire. I throw the light tube bundle at him, head on, so specifically so that it explodes on him. And then as it is flying at him, I'm gonna run at him to try and catch him with sort of a body avalanche or a stinger splash, in midair, so that basically we collide in the middle of the bundle of light tubes so that it explodes on both of us, and he's got the momentum of me coming down on him to push that barbed wire directly into his chest.
Oh my god, that's brutal. That's brutal. That's a showstopper. Just start rolling dice, man. All
right, so that's gonna be 3 might. That's gonna be 2 power. That's gonna be +1 because I am a murder hobo, and that is that's an extra 1 if it's brutal. That's gonna be an extra 1 if it's a showstopper. So that's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. So that is 7 dice, and I've got 4 successes banked on that.
Yeah, and all your sixes explode.
So that's 2. That is 2 successes. Or no, sorry, that is 4 successes with 2 exploding dice.
Cool. Make sure you re-roll first though, because you might get some extras.
Yep. So that is. So I'm re-rolling one failure for every 6 I get, right?
Mm-hmm. And then you add the dice when you're done with all the re-rolls.
Got it. So then I'm rolling 1 more dice because I did roll 1 more 6. All right. So I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes, and I'm adding 2 dice to that. That is 6 successes plus 4 successes to a total of 10 successes.
Fantastic. Okay, so this is how critical hits work in Tiebreaker. Your critical value is the combined total of your 2 basic defenses, because if you've been paying attention for the audience, you can block or you can dodge. In Tiebreaker, that's determined for blocking your endurance and for dodging your focus. So Durandai's focus is 4 and his endurance is 3, which gives him a 7. And so that makes his, and you add your power level to it, so his critical is 9. Because Jeff rolled a 10, that's going to crit him. And Tiebreaker's health system is 3 states. You're either up, down, or out at any given time. When you take damage, you go from up to down, but if you get crit, you go from up to out. And if you take damage while you're out, you're dead. So Jeff has put him from up all the way down to out, and while you're out, you can still do counterattacks and stuff like that, but they don't do damage to your opponent unless you crit them back. And beyond that, he can't move unless he decides to dash, and then the dash only lets him move 1 zone. So Durandai is basically got a big phosphorus tube like slammed into his forehead. It shatters on the impact. Your palm catches him and just like sends him flying into the turnbuckle with enough force that it bounces him back. You can hear his spine crack a little bit, or like his ribs, as he falls down to the floor. Like blood like spatters out of his mouth, and like he is basically sitting there on his knees and in his hands trying to get back up. So his turn is over because you crit him out before he could do his move, and it's your turn again.
Well, that means I guess it is time for me to end this with another weapon spot. I'm gonna pick up a chair. Line. I pick up a particular chair that is we see when I pick it up. I'm gonna walk because I'm walking into because actually, if we're in quadrant 1, we haven't identified any interactables, so I can identify the interactables that I want. And that means that there's, of course, a chair covered in C4 here, because this is robot deathmatch wrestling.
Yep.
So I'm going to pick up that chair, and I'm going to climb to the top rope, and I'm going to come down, and I'm going to bash a bunch of C4 on a steel chair over this man's back, and I'm going to end this.
And then somehow survive the explosion, because fucking Tiebreaker.
You know what? That's the magic of professional wrestling.
Yep. All right. So he looks up, he sees it coming, and like he smiles, like he's going to try to just endure it.
All right. So now that is going to be 3 might, 2 power, 1 for murder hobo. So that is 6. Do I get anything extra for the weapon itself, or is that just giving me murder hobo?
That's pretty much just giving you the murder hobo.
All right, perfect. Stuff. That's what I want. That's all I need. That is, unfortunately, only 1 success.
Okay, so he sees that C4. He kind of like...
Can I throw out a huge pitch, especially since we're pretty late in the episode, and I think this, if we can wrap up this fight and then build to the climax, I think that'll be a good cliffhanger to end on. But I have a twist that'll explain this perfectly.
Okay, go for it.
And we'll explain how he withstands a chair of C4 that sends me flying back against the turnbuckle, and I look up in shock.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm throwing out a big pitch here, and I hope this does not completely derail what we've established so far, but I think it's a cool twist on what has unfolded.
Oh, spin the hope, and it's true. You've got it.
Then I'm spending the point of hope to establish this is true. The explosion goes off. I get sent flying. I'm against the ropes. I'm burnt to a crisp. Right, like I'm flailing and grunting. And I look up, and Jirandai is looking up at me, and I see a chunk of his metal skull. I see his broken titanium ribs. I see the Terminator glowing a red eye, and I have exposed him as the robot deathmatch fighter that he is.
Yep. Yeah, cool. So he stands up, and then he looks at you.
That was worth the point of hope, just to establish that this man, that Gage Gusset, whether they are humanoid robots or not, I fight robots in the ring.
Yeah, he looks at you, he gets up, and he goes, "You know what, human? You put on a good show. So I'm going to give you a warrior's funeral. And then all that hope that you spent, every time you spend hope, it restores some of my doom. So I'm going to use it to trigger a particular doom effect called This Isn't Even My Final Form. For the audience, because we're just doing this mostly for the spectacle, the amount of doom I have to spend to trigger it is technically impossible for a 1v1 game. But as we're doing this in a particularly special 1v1 format, we're just doing this for the ha-has.
Yeah.
But this isn't even my final form. What it does is it triggers all of his stats go up to 5.
All right.
Amongst some other things. But for the finale, so he unleashes his whole full Terminator form. And then he grabs you by your head. And he lifts you up. And then he walks you up the turnbuckle. Because fuck physics.
Mm-hmm.
And he holds you by his one robotic arm and presents you to the crowd. So, like, he kind of like, you're facing the crowd now, and he's got you by the back of the head. And he goes, "Look amongst this crowd. See how proud they are. And know that you'll never see them again. But you have put on the best show that humanity has seen so far. And then we will take care of you. Your kind, when it's over. Viva the robot revolution." And then he drives your skull into the cement on the other side of the ring, killing you.
All right. And I think as I go down, the last thing I think is, well, at least I put on a pretty goddamn good show. I think that's game. I think we get my closing thought. And that's a wrap. That's great.
Yeah, thanks for playing, man. Yeah, we definitely had to basically improvise a couple of things in there at the last minute, but I think it turned out to be a pretty good story. Like, you were betrayed.
I think we hit it. I think we hit it pretty well.
Yeah, you definitely got betrayed, and it backfired on you. But like, I'm sorry that Gage's story had to go out like that, though.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. He'll come back in a mask. It's fine.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's it. This was great. Thank you so much for playing this with me.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. Like,
this was great.
This has been fantastic. I haven't had this much fun in forever. I'm sorry, playtesters, if you're hearing this later. I'm sorry. I love you. You're the best. Okay, but Jeff fucking Stormer, guys, come on.
Excellent. So real quick before we wrap up, where can people find you and your work online?
I'm on Twitter. Follow my blade. I'm also doing my early access for this game at tiebreakerrpg.com. Follow us on Twitter, grab a copy of the game, hit me up in my email. It's nickbutler@tiebreakerrpg.com. If you have any thoughts, some questions, if there's stuff that you want to see before we finally go on Kickstarter, let me know. I might, update the game with your stuff in mind. I want to do this for the community. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to build the best game I can. I'm going to try to, get up there right alongside Wizards and Evil Hat and Art Halsorian. Shout out to Mike Pondsmith, by the way. Love that guy. Yeah, so like I want to do it big. Like we're gonna have big art. It's gonna be a big game, But I need your help. So do help me out. And like I hope that I can do what I can to deliver.
Hell yeah. All right. And with that, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much for this. And for now, I'm going to throw it over to me in the future so that he can wrap up with the show. Take it, future me. Thanks, past me. And thanks again to Nick for coming on the show. That game was so much fun. That game ruled. I was so happy with it. I really hope that you go back the game on Kickstarter when it launches on June 22nd. I hope you go buy the early access edition right the hell now at tidebreakerrpg.com. And I hope you follow Nick on Twitter at FallOnMyBlade. Then while you're on Twitter, follow us at Party of One Pod. Like the show on Facebook at facebook.com/PartyOfOnePodcast. Join our Discord community at bit.ly/PartyOfOneDiscord. Head to our merch store at bit.ly/PartyOfOneMerch. And if you enjoyed the show, consider supporting us financially at patreon.com/JeffStormer or ko-fi.com/JeffStormer. Or give us some love on social media. Tell a friend about the show. Leave us a review on Podchaser. Shoot me an email at partyofonepodcast@gmail.com letting me know you enjoyed the show. I don't know. I like knowing that you enjoy the thing that I make. Like, it means a lot to me, and so I really hope you like it, and I hope you let me know that you enjoyed it. Speaking of things that I hope you enjoy, you should also check out All My Fantasy Children, which is a podcast on the One Shot Network. It is a character creation, storytelling, and world-building podcast powered by you. Every week, my best friend Eric Catano-Size and I take a listener-submitted prompt. We spin it into an original fantasy character. We populate a shared universe, one story at a time. New episodes drop every Friday-ish at oneshotpodcast.com. Party of One is, as always, produced and edited by Jeff Stormer and Jen Frank. All music for the show comes from the song Infinite Lives by Mega Ran featuring the D&D Sluggers, and the Party of One logo is by Evan Rowland. If you'd like to inquire about press coverage of the show, coming on the show as a guest, or about advertising on Party of One, you can email me at partyofonepodcast@gmail.com. And I am pretty sure that is all we do around here, so until next time, thank you so much for listening. Remember to fight the forces of fascism every single day. Remember that self-love and self-care are radical and defiant acts of resistance, and as always, party on, everybody.